Hello, this is Amlan from East Mojo. We are here for a tete-a-tete with a very special person. We are well aware of the term activist. However, how often do we find or come across a person who is well known by the term of a happiness activist? We are here with Hannah. She is a woman on a mission of a cycle expedition from Vietnam to London. So let's meet her. Hello, Hannah.
Hello.
So, at the very outset, welcome to Assam. So, how has been your journey so far?
Well, from my journey's been life changing, absolutely life changing, and my time, especially in the northeast, has been incredible. I've been to India before, but this experience has been very different. So, I think cycling changes your perspective on a lot of things, mostly because you slow time down enough to actually be a part of your present moment. So, I think this has already changed my life, and I still have so far to go. So.
So, can you explain to us what does a happiness activist mean?
Sure. So I feel really passionately about so many things. Obviously, I'm vegan and I'm zero waste, so I care massively about animal rights and also climate change and environmental awareness, as well as human rights. There are so many, problems that are going on in the world. But I just think that we have to look at why are these things happening, and ultimately it's because people aren't content, they're not whole within themselves. I come from a background of depression and self-harming when I was very young, and if I can go from there to get to where I am now as probably the happiest person on the planet, then I want to show other people how you can do it too. I dedicate my life to making the world happy.
Well, that's quite a unique perspective upon things. So, a cycling expedition from Vietnam to England. I mean, how did the ideation of such a project come up to be?
So I was originally inspired from electric bicycles in Vietnam. The concept of connecting my home from home, where I was living in Hanoi, to my actual home in London, and the idea of sustainable, economical, and ecological travel. And I thought, I'd never ridden like a bike for longer than like an hour in my life. I hadn't had a bike since I was about 10 years old. I wasn't very good at it. I'm still not that good at it. But I thought, what better way to make people sit up and listen to some really important things than do something ridiculous like cycle across the world? So the idea was born, and now here we are, and it's happening.
Yes, exactly. Here we are. So, I mean, for a for a stretch of such an journey that you're going through, I mean, you need to be well aware of the diet that you're intaking, I guess. So, like, how do you keep yourself fit, and like how do you properly manage your diet going to different places and all?
I think, as with anything in life, preparation is really important. So, having a general understanding of what your body needs. So, I think with the modern era and the fashion industry, I think people are almost hyper aware of, macros, micros. I don't even know what that means. But the point is, you need some carbs, you need some protein, you need some fruit and fiber. So, making sure you have a generally balanced diet and keeping an eye on that is really important. So, for me, as someone that's vegan, so that means that I have no animal products at all, including like no milk, no eggs, no honey. I have to make sure that I do get that protein, so that over a long term I'm not deficient in anything. So I do that by making sure I carry things like nuts, seeds, or chana, chickpeas, which all give me lots of nutrition in a small quantity. So I usually carry, a kilo to 2 kilos of, supplementary food, so that if I'm ever stuck in a region, I can always sort of give myself enough nutrients. But fundamentally, I have a little bit stored here, a bit stored here. I'm not wasting away anytime soon, especially in India where everyone feeds me 10 meals a day. So at the moment, I'm like putting on weight. So I've got extra to lose. It's okay.
So, how is Project Hannah's Happiness associated with all the different kinds of organizations and charity groups that you are associated with?
So when I was deciding to do this project, and I knew I was going to be fundraising, I wanted to look at things that were really close to my heart, things that I felt were important, because there are so many things. I wanted to divide that awareness into a little bit more than just one focus. So since I was a child, one of my biggest dreams was to open my own homeless shelter, because I think a lot of organizations kind of either feed the problem or just soothe the symptoms. They don't fix the problem. So it was a really easy decision for me to work with Crisis, because they are the UK's national homeless charity. If I look at Friends of the Earth, being being an environmentalist is part of my every single day. And Friends of the Earth really stood out as an environmental organization for me because they are just normal people. You're not getting lost in a corporate scheme. I looked into other charities as well, and I just had a real connection with all the staff that worked there. It was a very personable relationship that I developed with them. So then MSF, or Doctors Without Borders, Médecins Sans Frontières, they are an international medical aid NGO, and they are internationally renowned. I mean, the most famous, I would say, of the charities that I work with. And I got introduced to them actually through a very good friend of mine who works for them. And I just think that their work is imperative in all forms of crises. And the reason that I directly value their sort of ethical side and their stance on things is because they are indiscriminate.
You stand in for mental health issues. You are a lone woman. You are standing for women empowerment. Like, how do you go on taking all this on yourself, on your alone woman on a cycling journey? Can you explain a bit about that?
Sure, I think through struggling so much when I was younger with identifying who I was and who I wanted to be, and who society wanted me to be as well. I think I've worked through a lot of the sort of day-to-day struggles already. But by cycling, you're like meditating all day. I mean, the time that we allow ourselves to work out our own thoughts in a busy sort of 9 to 5 lifestyle, competing in a busy city like London or Guwahati or Delhi or Kolkata or anywhere else, you know, we don't actually allow ourselves time to work us out. And I can encourage wholeheartedly anyone to go and take up a sport like running or cycling or walking even, just anything that gives you silence and introspection, which is so important. I know that now it's a big craze to meditate, which is a really, truly wonderful thing, but it's not for everyone to sit down and, just sit and be silent. And you can find that solitude in so many other ways. So I think for me, people drive me on. It's a combination of the silence and having a chance to be truly myself by myself, but also the impact of engagement with so many people. So one of my life mottos, my probably main life motto, is live to be inspired and to inspire others.
Can you explain to us about the projects that you have done so far while coming from Vietnam to India right now?
Yeah, so essentially, I look for opportunities. So it's not always so organized. I've currently been touring the Northeast, basically visiting schools and teaching environmental programs for free to raise awareness and educate people that maybe don't know much about climate change. So I think it's really important to be able to get access to loads of children and young minds, because the next generation is the future, and on such a prevalent issue, this is a really effective way to be able to spread a positive message. But I've also worked with local tourism boards, helping them write in English to attract money into local poorer areas and things like that. I volunteer on even a smaller scale. I also do lots of art projects. So I paint wall murals. I'm also a tattoo artist. I give out free hugs and free massages in public places just to help break down social barriers. I also have social projects such as my Jar of Gratitude, which helps people to practice gratitude and think about, the way they're sort of living their day-to-day life. So lots of different small outreach programs, as well as things on a slightly broader scale.
So I also heard that you just met with an accident, sort of.
Yeah, so I did have an accident. I was on my way to Guwahati and I got run over by someone that was drunk, actually, a drunk driver. Yeah. I'm thankfully okay. My ankle's a little bit injured, but it's fine now. I'm very, very lucky. And so was he. He was very lucky as well. So just sort of bumps, bruises, scrapes. My bike is getting fixed at the moment. My baby, her heart is broken, but yeah, I'm okay. It could have been a lot worse.
Yes. So since you're talking about your baby and your most trusted companion, can you tell us a bit about your bike and like what kind of bikes did you use, and like are very aware of the nuances of biking?
No, I don't know anything. I barely know anything about bikes. People always ask me things like models. If you told me a bike model, I wouldn't have a clue what it was. I don't know anything about bikes. All I know is when something goes wrong, I learn how to fix it. So I started this journey having never changed a tyre. I've now changed 12 tyres at least, and other people's tyres. I've broken pedals. I've broke my hydraulic brake cable. I've broken spokes, 2 rear pannier racks. I've changed my chain, changed everything. It's all custom. And now I know a lot more about bikes. But when I started, I didn't have a clue. And I still don't really know that much. I don't know mod cons. I don't know biking terms. I'm a traveler activist that cycles, not a cyclist that travels.
What are the most common questions that people ask you while you are going on your journey?
Yeah, well, this is actually a really, a really funny question because I get the same things over and over again. And I would say up there is how many kilometers do I cycle a day? That's a top one, which varies massively. But I would say between 80 and 120 kilometers a day. I get, where is your husband or your boyfriend? Always. And I'm like, well, they would give me a massive headache, so we can leave those at home. But the most infuriating question that I get is once they've asked where my boyfriend or husband is and I say I don't have one, when they go, so what do you do when you get a flat tire? I'm like, would you ask a man that question? And like, this is so important because women are so capable of achieving anything. And I want to show that not only is this journey a challenge for a man, but a woman can take on anything a man can, and even more. We're better. No, I'm joking. But we can do anything. And I want to show women that they can do anything. So that's really, really important to me. And yeah, I love it. I learned how to change a tyre, didn't I? Now I've changed lots of them.
12 tires.
12 tyres, 12. I've changed 12. So I've got this on down now.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Thank you so much.